Through his binoculars, this traveler observed something strange on a cliff, and he was stunned by what he saw. A lot of individuals like taking treks. It's a fantastic hobby that keeps you active and allows you to enjoy the outdoors and the fresh air. One couple had no idea that they would witness something that would drastically startle them while out on a trek. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Katie and Brody were a really unique pair. Growing up, they had both developed a strong sense of adventure and an unwillingness to sit still for an extended period of time. The two were drawn to one another because of their shared desire for thrill and adventure. They both had a desire for learning new things, so they agreed that their relationship wouldn't stop them from pursuing their interests. Keeping this notion in mind, the two went on to become full-time travelers, traveling most of the time with their canine companion, Spaghetti. Together, the three of them delighted in several expeditions when they explored the environment and saw breathtakingly amazing new things. But something extraordinary occurred during one specific trip. After much deliberation, Brody and Katie had decided to go trekking in Colorado's canyons, which are home to the well-known Grand Canyon. The day had begun rather brightly, ideal for a lengthy stroll and perhaps even some light hiking into the forest to take in some breathtaking vistas. Everything was going according to plan at first. While Spaghetti scurried about Brody and Katie, taking in their tranquil stroll, he was interested to smell everything, in case they decided to climb a portion of the canyon to have a better perspective of the surroundings. The pair brought their climbing equipment. The pair decided to enjoy the tiny picnic they had prepared in their bags when they came to a stop about midday. This is when Katie and Brody heard something that sounded like barking in the distance while they were taking in the breathtaking sight straight before them. For some minutes, the pair sat and observed the sounds permeating the canyon. Once they were certain that what they had heard was barking, the two started to speculate as to what it may be. Since Katie and Brody had brought Spaghetti, there was probably another walker in the canyon with their dogs. That it was only a couple of coyotes was another hypothesis. One of North America's best adapted species, coyotes are frequently spotted at Grand Canyon National Park. Though this wasn't a huge issue, the couple made the decision to try and keep their own dog nearby because coyotes can attack dogs for a fast meal if they have the chance. After finishing their lunch, the three of them headed back into the canyon. But Brody and Katie could hear barking all the time they were walking. The coyotes appeared to be engaged in a heated dispute or altercation that didn't seem to be ending anytime soon. However, the duo became more circumspect the closer they went to the source of the barking. There was a remote chance that the animals may have rabies or some medical condition, given how consistently the sounds kept repeating. Rabies is a virus that attacks mammals' central nervous systems, leading to brain damage and eventually death. Coyotes are recognized carriers of this virus. Early symptoms are similar to those of the flu, and it spreads swiftly through bites and scratches. This includes headaches, fever, or weakness or pain. These could be days-long symptoms. After that, tension, perplexity, and worry set in, frequently making the afflicted animal extremely hostile and ready to attack anything in its immediate vicinity. Katie and Brody made the decision to keep an even closer lookout for anything unusual that they could come across since they didn't want to take the possibility of getting attacked or having their dog attacked. However, as they approached the barking sound, Brody realized that it seemed as though it was coming from above. A curious man, thrilled to witness coyotes in the wild, began to scan the area through his binoculars, trying to discover what was causing all the commotion. Through his binoculars, Brody observed simply the scenery in front of him. But then, something odd moved, and his attention was drawn to it. The man turned his attention back to where he believed he had seen the movement, curious to find out what it was. He spotted it again after a little while, and this time he could make out the general shape of the monster. Brody could see the shape of its body, so it was undoubtedly a dog of some kind, but it appeared as though it was stranded on a little protrusion in the canyon. The coyote may have been stranded after slipping over the edge, as evidenced by its cries for assistance, thinking that possibly the coyote needed help getting down of the ledge. Brody and Katie decided that the only thing that they could do was to walk up to the ledge themselves and help them down. This was a terrible idea, as coyotes are wild animals, and if they feel intimidated or in any sense of danger, they might lash out at Brody and seriously or perhaps fatally kill him. The good-hearted man realized that he couldn't just abandon the helpless animal on the cliff, despite the very real risk of harm. With haste, Brody assembled his climbing apparatus and began ascending towards the ridge. The man had a difficult time grabbing onto the extremely narrow handholds throughout the extremely steep ascent, but he ultimately made it to the ledge. It wasn't until he arrived that he discovered something unexpected. It turned out that the stranded animal was not a coyote, but rather two dogs. However, after getting a better look at them, Brody realized how serious the situation was, and it devastated him. He saw that the dogs had obviously deserted and that they were all by themselves on the ridge. The animals had to have been deliberately put on the rocky outcrop by a person before being abandoned there with little chance of survival. Feeling terribly sad for the puppies, Brody slowly approached them, trying sure not to startle them, as there was a very real chance of the dogs falling from the few feet of cliff that they were standing on. Luckily, the animals were very friendly and were even wagging their tails at the new arrival. As Brody gave the dogs a brief glance over, though, his heart broke even more. The two canines were exceedingly emaciated and feeble. The generous guy gave the dogs some of his leftover food right away, and they devoured them with a voracious appetite. The dogs gladly climbed onto Brody's lap after realizing he wouldn't harm them, and the guy buckled them in. Brody started to rappel back down the rock and toward Katie after making sure the animals were safe. As soon as they were back on firm ground, the two puppies started to waggle with joy. It was obvious that they were relieved to be safe again and off the precipice. With haste, Katie and Brody left the national park and went to the nearby animal shelter to pick up the two puppies, Meatball and Parmesan, as they had christened them. The staff at the shelter was astounded when the couple arrived and told them the story of the animals. The staff at the shelter decided to shower the animals with love and attention after learning the pups' story. They wanted the animals to understand that not all people would harm them in the same way, even if humans were the ones who put them in their horrible circumstances. The two canines quickly found their new forever homes after being brought to the shelter and recovering sufficiently to be placed for adoption. The two dogs were adopted separately, but they were happy with their new homes since they knew they would never be placed in such a terrible circumstance again. What a remarkable tale, and even more remarkable individuals to willingly put themselves in danger to save these helpless puppies. Please share your thoughts on the video in the comments section below. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.